This is He Knows His Sport, bringing you that heat and that fire. Woo, woo. Man, that damn face-off, boy, that first face-off between Tony Harrison and Jermell Charlo, that thing was not pretty. Woo. You can tell that personal beef between the both of them, the beef that they have, is real. It's passionate, y'all. That thing is ugly. I'm telling y'all right now, man. There's nothing fake about that beef between the two of those guys. Those two guys look like they want to rip each other's heads off. I'm going to say that again. They look like they want to rip each other's heads off, folks. It's ridiculous, but this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with two guys in a controversial fight. That was a controversial decision, and both guys are telling themselves that they believe they won. They believe they were the winner of that controversial decision. That's crazy, folks. But this is the sport of boxing. This is what we're dealing with nowadays. We're dealing with this kind of stuff. The craziness. I felt that Tony Harrison got the better of Jermell Charlo. As much as Jermell Charlo does not want to admit it, he got the better of him, and I think he got under his skin. That's good going into a fight like this for Tony Harrison, and it's good for his confidence. Now, you guys have to understand, Tony Harrison was trained under Emmanuel Stewart, and now under Emmanuel Stewart's pupil. After Emmanuel Stewart passed away, you guys know he's the trainer for Triple G now, and I think that's a good move for Triple G. That's the guy that's was schooling Tony Harrison on the ways of boxing. And we can see why Tony Harrison has poise. We can see why he has patience. We can see why he is a fundamentally sound, and a technically sound fighter. We see why he likes to make intelligent moves, He doesn't like to waste his punches. Tony Harrison, in that fight, proved to me a lot of things about him. He not only showed his internal fortitude from being able to bounce back after that Jarrett Hurd fight, he also proved that second chances are great things when they're given to someone who really wants to take that second chance. I'm going to say it again. Second chances are great for those who are willing and ready, or ready and willing to take those second chances. And boy, did he take that second chance. Jermell Charlo went into that first fight reckless. He went into the first fight with the mindset of, I'm going to try to knock this dude's head out. See, that mindset can only work for so far and so long. The reason why it worked on, Erickson Lubin is because that dude was still raw. He was still young, still wet behind the ears. A lot of things about his boxing ability that needed to be developed. And Jermell Charlo was the bigger guy. So he was able to get him out of there. But that shit wasn't going to work against Tony Harrison, because when you look at Tony Harrison and Jermell Charlo, they're damn near neck to neck. It looks like Tony Harrison might be slightly taller than him and slightly bigger than him. So that whole stalking stuff wasn't going to work. And all night in that first fight, Tony Harrison was countering Jermell Charlo. Jermell Charlo was just giving him one look. He wasn't switching things up. He wasn't switching up the pace. In Tony Harrison's words, and I'm going to regurgitate it, he was giving ineffective aggression. I'm going to say it again. In Tony Harrison's words, and I'm going to regurgitate it, he said he was giving ineffective aggression. And that's true. Now, I don't want Tony Harrison to be all up in his shit and his stock about the win, because it was a slight win. And technically, when you beat somebody slightly like that and they are the champion, unless you definitively beat them and take it away from them, you don't win. If anything, at best, that fight should have been Jermell Charlo walks out with the belt, or it's a draw, and we're talking about running it back again. That's best case scenario. But you know what? Now looking back on it, I'm kind of happy that it happened the way it did, because Jermell Charlo was on some about bullshit type of shit, man. I mean, the way that he was acting, the way he was feeling himself, the way that his head was blowing up, he was on some shit like, I don't think he was going to be able to come back from it, to be honest with you guys. And I think he needed to be checked. I think he needed you know what I'm saying, to be put in his place, you know what I'm saying, so that he could reevaluate some things in his life, make some lifestyle changes. Because he was letting that entourage, he was letting them damn groupies, he was letting all that shit get to his fucking head, man. And I get it, Lions only, you know what I'm saying? I like the Charlos, you know what I'm saying? I like the type of fighters that they are. I think that they're talented fighters. But here's the thing about boxing, man. Fighters have to know their levels, man. You guys always hear me talk about the Meek Mill saying, there's levels to this shit. You got to know your truest and most properest levels. And you have to work towards getting to those levels. And the way that you do that is through the actions, man. It's through your fists. This is boxing. This is the sweet science. It's what you do in the ring, man. It's not what you do here. We don't want lip service, man. We want to see that action in the ring. We want to see you guys take care of business each and every single time. Say what you want about Jermell, the older brother, but he doesn't run his mouth as much. He runs his fucking mouth, but nowhere near as much as Jermell. I feel like Jermell knows when to turn it on and turn it off. I think that's the difference between the both of them. And that's why Jermell Charlo is undefeated. Because he, to me, is the more patient brother. He, to me, is the more poised brother. And he, to me, is the more talented fighter. If you're looking at both of them and what they both bring to the table, Jermell, to me, is more talented than Jermell. But the funny part about it is Jermell's the one with the mouth. If anybody should have had the mouth between the both of them, it should be Jermell, right? Because Jermell's the more talented of the two. But it's Jermell. It is what it is. This fight right here is what I call a crossroads fight for Jermell Charlo, because it's a make or break for him. He could choose to either turn things around and decide, hey, I'm going to make the most of this opportunity, or he can go back into ordinary ways and ordinary habits. And I'm talking about if he were to get the victory, he can go back to ordinary habits, and then he'll find himself right back in the same situation. Because one thing that we realized in the Tony Harrison fight is Jermell Charlo, there's a blueprint to be him. There's not one for Jermell just yet. Yes, Matt Korobov gave him the hardest fight of his boxing career so far, but he did not win. So there's no blueprint fully yet for Jermell Charlo. Whereas with Jermell, there is a blueprint, and it's Tony Harrison. If you can get a fighter that can fight the fight that Tony Harrison can fight, if not better than that, you can beat him. So the question remains on June 23rd, is Jermell Charlo going to be level-headed? I don't know, man. There's a lot of questions to ask, a lot of glaring questions to ask on that. I'm picking Jermell Charlo to win, but I'm picking a Jermell Charlo that's going in there with the mindset that, hey, I can't try to go toe-to-toe and try to out-slick this slickster. I need to try to get his ass out of there, put the foot on the gas pedal and get his ass out of there. Because if the longer I let this fight go, the more it's going to play in the favor of a Tony Harrison, and he's going to be picking my ass apart all night. That's what I see between these two when they step into the ring. If I'm Tony Harrison, I'm doing more of the same. If anything, I'm making sure my stamina and my leg conditioning is better. My footwork is better so that I can do extremely more of the same. I'm going to be continuing to get on Jermell Charlo's nerves, get him out of his comfort zone, so that when he does come with that ineffective aggression once again, I can continue to tag his ass up through effective counterpunching. That's what I would do if I'm Tony Harrison. More of the same, but putting more of the foot on the gas pedal. Kind of like that mentality or the moniker that I tell you guys. I keeps the foot on the what? On the necks. I keeps the foot on the what? On the necks. That's what Tony Harrison's going to have to do. He's going to have to keep the foot on the neck of his counterpunching ability and make sure his legs are there that fight night if he wants to prevail and continue to get in Jermell Charlo's head. If he can do those things, that will be the key of victory for him. Now, if I'm Jermell Charlo, I'm pressing the action from the jump, because although Tony Harrison was saying some of the stuff he was doing was called ineffective aggression, some of it was working and some of it was hurting Tony Harrison when it did land. Jermell Charlo just needs to be more effective with it, clean some shit up, and just not try to go for the knockout. Set it up. You know what I'm saying? Work it through the jab. Set that shit up. Go downstairs and go upstairs. If he does that, he will have success and he will be able to get Tony Harrison's ass out of there, because Jermell Charlo has shown that he has pop at 154. That's my tell of the tape. This is what I'm thinking is going to happen between these two. This is Hino Sport. Checking out.